My name is Lucas and I never expected a casual house party to change my life so completely. I'm a 24-year-old graphic designer and I've been out to my friends and family since college. While most of them have been supportive, I've always kept a certain distance, especially when it came to my closest friend. Eric and I met 2 years ago through a mutual friend at a local art gallery. He was there supporting his then girlfriend's exhibition and rebonded over our shared love of contemporary art, Indian music. Despite being straight, Eric never showed any discomfort about my sexuality, which made our friendship easy and natural. The night that changed everything was at Eric's housewarming party. He had just moved into a new apartment and invited our close circle of friends to celebrate. I arrived early to help set up, watching as he arranged drinks and snacks with the same ridiculous attention. He brought everything. You don't have to make everything perfect, I teased, adjusting a bowl of chips that he'd been fussing with for 5 minutes. Says the guy who redesigned his business cards 12 times, he shot back, grinning. His smile had always been infectious, reaching all the way to his bright blue eyes. As guests started arriving, filled with the familiar buzz of conversation and music. Eric had excellent taste in both food and drinks, and before long everyone was enjoying themselves. I nursed my gin and tonic, watching as Eric moved effortlessly between groups, making sure everyone was comfortable. It was around midnight when things started winding down. Most people had left, leaving just a core group of 5 or 6 of us. Eric had mentioned earlier that anyone who wanted to crash at his place was welcome, given how much we'd all been drinking. As the night went on, our small group migrated to Eric's comfort, a living room. The alcohol had left me feeling warm and slightly inhibited, but not out of control. Eric sat next to me on the couch, our shoulders touching casually as we listened to Tom and Rachel debate about some new Netflix series. I was acutely aware of Eric's presence, the subtle essence of his cologne, the way his leg occasionally brushed against mine when laughed. He'd broken up with his girlfriend Sarah 2 months ago, and I'd noticed he'd been more tactile with me since then, though. I tried not to read too much into it. Another drink? Eric asked, nudging my empty glass. Probably shouldn't, I replied, but he was already heading to the kitchen. He returned with 2 glasses of whiskey, handing me one with a conspiratorial wink. It's the good stuff, can't let it go to waste. As we sipped our drinks, the others gradually started making their exits or finding places. Toslip, Rachel and Tom took the guest room while Mike crashed on the recliner. Soon it was just Eric and me on the couch, talking in low voices to avoid waking Mike. You can take my bed, Eric offered. He'll sleep on the couch. Don't be ridiculous, I protested. It's your house. I'm fine here, Nate, he said, using the nickname only. He called me by my bed's big enough for 2. We're both adults in this. He paused, looking suddenly uncertain. Unless you're not comfortable with the alcohol, made me braver than usual. I'm comfortable if you are, hested up, offering me his hand. Come on then. Leighton, I'm exhausted. As I followed him to his bedroom, I tried Tonya. The way my heart was racing. This wasn't the first time we'd shared a bed. We'd crashed in the same bed at Party Espor, but something felt different in it. Eric's bedroom was neat and minimalist, with a large king-size bed dominating the space. He rummaged through his dresser and tossed me a pair of sweat pants and a soft t-shirt. Bathrooms all yours if you want to change, he said, already pulling off his own shirt. I tried not to stare at his thin chest as I hurried to the bathroom. The t-shirt he'd given me smelled like him, a mix of laundry detergent and fat cologne I'd grown so familiar with. When I returned, he was already in bed, scrolling through his phone. I slipped the covers on the other side, maintaining a respectful distance. The whiskey had left me feeling pleasant-lipped, just enough to quiet the usual anxiety. I felt around. Derek, can I ask you something? Eric said, suddenly putting his phone on then its stand. Sure. He rolled onto his sedato, faced me, his expression serious and fed him light from the bedside lamp. Have you ever been attracted to a straight friend? Me heart skipped a beat. That's complicated, I answered carefully. How so? I took a deep breath. My words, sometimes it's hard to separate emotional closeness from attraction. When you're gay, you learn early on it to develop feelings for straight friends. It usually just leads to heartache. He was quiet for a moment, then asked, is that why you've been differently more reticent? What do you mean? Ever since Sarah and I broke up, you've been, I don't know, pulling away ways to hang out all the time, but now it feels like you're always busy or making excuses. I hadn't realized he'd noticed. He thought you might need space after the breakup. That's not it though, is it? His blue eyes searched mine in the semi-darkness. Be honest with me. Nate, Thelkel in my system made the truth slip out easier than it should have. Fine, yes, you've been pulling away because I started feeling things I shouldn't, and I didn't want to make things weird between. Osiric propped himself up on his elbow, looking at me intently. What kind of things? Don't make me say it, I whispered, me heart pounding. You know what I mean. Moved closer, close enough that he could feel the warmth radiating from his booty. I need you to say it, Nate, because I've been feeling things too, and I'm terrified. I'm reading this all wrong. My breath caught in my throat. What are you saying? I'm saying that breaking up with Sarah wasn't just because we weren't working out. It was because I couldn't stop thinking about someone else. His voice was low, almost vulnerable. About you. I closed my eyes, trying to steady myself. Eric, you're straight, am I? Hishin found mine under the covers. Because you've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you, and it scares the hell out of me. Look at me. I said, opening my eyes when he met my gaze. I continued, if this is just curiosity or confusion. It's not, he interrupted. I've been struggling with this for months. Why do you think Sarah and I really broke up? She figured it out before I did, said she could see the way I looked at you, how I lit up whenever you were around. His thumb was tracing circles on my palm, sending shivers down my spine. I don't want to lose you as a friend. I admitted. You won't, he promised, but I need to know if you feel the same way. Do you have feelings for me, Nate? Yes, I whispered, the word hanging heavy in the air between us. God, yes, I've had feelings for you for so long, but I never thought before I could finish. Eric closed the distance between us, pressing his lips to mine. The kiss was tentative, at first questioning, but when I responded it deepened. His hand moved toward my face, and I could feel the slight in his fingers. When we finally broke apart, both breathing heavily, Eric rested his forehead against mine. I've been wanting to do that for months, Heckenfest. How long have you known? I asked, my hands still gripping his shirt. Remember that night we went to the beach we stayed up talking until sunrise. His fingers traced patterns on me neck. That was when I first admitted to myself the way you looked in the moonlight. How natural it felt to be close to you. I wanted to kiss you. Then I remembered that night vividly, how intimidated had felt, how I'd forced myself to maintain distance. Why didn't you? Fear, he admitted. Fear of ruining our friendship. Fear of what it meant to boot me. I'd never been attracted to a man before, but with you it's different. It's not about gender, it's about who you are. I pulled back slightly to look at him. Are you sure about this? Because if we cross this line. Instead of answering, he kissed me again, more confidently. This time his body pressed against mine, and I could feel his heart racing as fast as my own. When his hand slipped under Missa, touching bare skin, I gasped. Is this okay? He murmured against my lips. More than okay, I breathed, pulling him closer. The night unfolded in a series of tender moments and hesitant explorations. Eric's touch ease were gentle, almost reverent, as if he was discovering something precious. We took things slow, new intimacy, preceded by whispered questions and reassurances. Tell me if I'm doing something wrong, he murmured, his hands mapping the contours of my body with careful attention. You're perfect, I assured him, marveling at how natural this felt, how right. We spent hours learning each other, alternating between passionate kisses and quiet conversations. Eric told me about his journey of self-discovery, how he'd started questioning his sexuality after that night at the beach. I tried to deny it at first, he admitted, tracing my collarbone with his fingertips. Threw myself into my relationship with Sarah, tried to convince myself it was just a fuse, but the more time I spent with you, the harder it became to ignore what changed. I asked, running my fingers through his hair. You did, or rather Theoway, you started pulling away. It made me realize I couldn't bear the thought of when I knew this wasn't just confusion or curiosity. These feelings surreal, the vulnerability in his voice made me heartache. I pulled him closer, kissing him softly. I'm not going anywhere. As the night deepened, our passion grew more intense. Eric's that was overshadowed by his enthusiasm and attention to my responses. Every gasp, every shiver was noted and explored. When we finally came together, there it was, with a tenderness that brought his two to my eyes. Afterward, lying in each other's arms, Eric traced lazy patterns on my back. I've never felt like this before, he confessed. It's like everything makes sense now. Morning light filtered through the curtains, and I would find Eric watching me, a soft smile on his face. For a moment I feared regret, but he immediately leaned in to kiss me. Good morning, he murmured onto my lips, no second thoughts. I had to ask. He propped himself up on O'Neill's bow. Only about why I waited so long to tell you how I felt. His free hand caressed my cheek. Last night was incredible. We lay there for a while, trading lazy kisses and gentle touches until the sound of movement in the apartment reminded us we weren't alone. Eric tensed slightly. We should probably talk about this, I said, understanding his concern about who we tell and when. He nodded, looking thoughtful. I'm not ashamed of this of us, but I need time to figure out how to tell people, my family especially. We can take it slow, I assured. There's Norish. A knock on the door made us both jump. Eric, it was Tom K's voice. We're heading out for breakfast. You guys want to join? Eric looked at me questioningly. I nodded. Better to act normal than hide away. Give us 15 minutes, Eric called back as we got dressed, stealing glances and secret smiles. Eric suddenly pulled me into a kiss. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For being patient with me, for giving me time to figure things out. For Benji. We managed to make it to breakfast, what being too obvious. Though I caught Rachel giving us knowing looks. Eric sat closer to me than usual, his thigh pressed against mine undefeatable, and occasionally his hand would find mine when nobody was looking. The weeks that followed were a beautiful mix of secret moments and careful navigation during group gatherings. We maintained our usual friendship, but stolen glances and subtle touches scared new meaning when alone. We couldn't keep our hands off each other. Eric spent more time at my apartment where we could be ourselves, without worrying about roommates or unexpected visitors. We'd cook dinner together, watch movies, cuddled on the couch, and spend hours talking about everything and nothing. One evening, as we lay tangled together on my bed, Eric brought up something that had been bothering him. Sarah texted me today, he said, playing with my fingers. She wants to meet for coffee. I tried to keep my voice neutral. Are you going to go? He nodded. I think I owe her an explanation. She knew you know about my feelings for you. That's partly why we broke up. What did she say? She said she could see it in the way I looked at you, how I always found excuses to touch you or be near you, she told me. Needed to be honest with myself, hesitant to face me. She was right. The next day, Eric met Sarah for coffee. When he came to my place afterward, he seemed lighter. Somehow she was amazing, he told him. Pulling me into a hug, said she was happy for us, that she'd been waiting for him to figure it out. She even offered to help when I'm ready to come out to others. That night, as we lay in bed, Eric traced the contours of my face with his fingertips. "I love you," he whispered, seeing it for the first time. "I think I have for a long time." My heart felt like it might burst. "I love you too." 2 months into our relationship, Eric decided he was ready to start telling people. We began with our closest friends, inviting them over to my apartment on evening, so Eric started his hand finding me. "We have something to tell you guys." Reactions varied from shocked, Mikito, unsurprised, Rachel, who admitted she'd suspected since the house party. Tom just grinned and said about damn time. Their support from our friends gave Eric the confidence to take the next step, telling his sister Emma she was his closest family member, and her opinion meant everything to him. We invited her over for dinner at my place. Eric was nervous all day, checking and rechecking the lasagna recipe he'd insisted on making from scratch. "She's going to love it," I yoshed him, wrapping my arms around him from behind as he stirred the sauce. "And she's going to love it." Emma arrived right on time, and dinner went smoothly. As we finished our win, Eric took a deep breath and reached for me hand. "There's something I need to tell you," he began. "Nate and I were together as a couple." Emma was quiet for a moment, then broke into a wide smile. "Finally, I've been wondering when you'd tell me." "Wait, what?" Eric looked stunned. "Little brother, I've known you were in love with Nate for months. The way you talk about him, how your face lights up whenever he's around. I was just waiting for you to figure it out yourself." Eric's grip on my hand tightened as tears welled in his eyes. Ma got up and hugged us both. "I'm so happy for you," she said, "both of you, and you'll be right here when you're ready to tell Mom and Dad." The next major step came 3 months later during the holidays season. Eric's parents had invited him home for Christmas, and after much discussion, we decided it was time to tell them. "Come with me," Eric insisted. "I want them to meet you as my boyfriend Ned." Just me friend. A drive to his parents' house was tense. I could feel Eric's anxiety radiating off him as he gripped the steering wheel. Occasionally, I'd reach over and squeeze his hand, offering a support. His parents greeted us warmly. They'd met me before at various gatherings, always as Eric's friend Emma was already there, and her bit of presence helped calm our nerves. After dinner, as we sat in the living room with cups of coffee, Eric cleared his throat. "Mom, Dad, I need to tell you something." His voice shook slightly. "Nate isn't just my friend, he's my boyfriend. We've been together for several months now." The silence that followed felt eternal. His mother sat down her coffee cup slowly, while his father's expression remained unruly. "Are you sure about this?" his mother finally asked. "You've never shown interest in men before, I'm sure." Eric sighed, firmly reaching for my hand. "I love him, and I'm still the same person. This doesn't change who I am." His father stood up suddenly, and my heart sank. Beauty instead of the anger we feared, he walked over and pulled Eric into a tight hug. "My son," he said gruffly, "nothing will ever change that." His mother joined with him, tears in her eyes. Then, to my surprise, they both hugged me to welcome me to the family. His mother whispered. Later that night, lying in Eric's childhood bed, his parents had insisted we stay over. He turned to me with tears in his eyes. "Thank you," he said softly, "for being patient, for loving me, for everything." I kissed him gently. "Thank you for being brave enough to be yourself." Looking back now, a year after that house party that changed everything, I'm amazed at how far we've come. Eric has fully embraced his identity, though prefers not to label it. "I just know I love you," he always is. We moved in together last month, and our apartment is a perfect blend of both our styles. Our friends joke that we were basically living together anyway, given how much time we spent at each other's places, sometimes late at night. We talk about that first evening, the nervous tension, the whispered confessions, the way everything changed with one kiss. How a simple house party led to the most important relationship of our lives. Love, it doesn't always come the way you expect it to. Sometimes it's been right in front of you all along, just waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. And sometimes all it takes is a little courage, a lot of trust and willingness to take a chance on something beautiful.